want to go back to this statement that I heard today. Something can't be expensive and hold incredible value. And that hit me right in the heart, because that's my belief. That's so true to me. If you tell me something's expensive, then you don't understand the value, or the value doesn't pertain to you. But if it holds incredible value, if something holds incredible value, for me, when I hear that, I'm like, it's priceless. How am I putting a number on that? You tell me you are going to change the hours I spend a day managing my inflammatory response to the outside world, be it a mold, be it an environmental toxicant. There's no amount of money. I would come up with the money. I would work for the rest of my life for the money if you told me you could save me time and suffering, because you had shown me there was enough value there. And I hear that all the time in the health space. It's too expensive, and I agree with you. I think the over prescription of assignment of prescription drugs equally parallels the burden of over supplementation. Most people have no idea what the supplements they're taking or doing, and most of the people they look at the end of the monthly bill and they're like, "Oh my God, I'm spending $800, $1,000, $2,000 for these treatments and these supplements that have a net neutral effect. They don't do anything." Again, it's a lack of understanding. I think it's a lack of individual or precision medicine under which they are prescribed being a loose word, again, very loosely. I think it's really, my theory has always been, empower a person to better understand what their body needs through diagnostic testing, through more information, and they can be the person deciding, is like, does this feel like a right fit? Do I feel better on it? Is there value there for me? Because it's so multifactorial. I never want you to listen to this podcast and be influenced by me to be like, well, Freddie likes it, I should do it. I have no idea if it's good for you. All I can tell you is I believe in the science. I believe in the person who put the science together and created a product. I might have a personal experience where I've found value. Other than that, you've got to decide if it's a right fit for you. And I think all of these conversations, what I really want you to feel from my heart, is that it is a jumping off point for you to explore and see what else you could be doing. And a lot of it is based on, you will find an amplified effect when you have your sleep hygiene, when you have your daily movement, when you learn how to breathe, when you learn how to remove judgment and just focus on what do you have control over? You have control over your response. My response is my responsibility. Kathy Wheelahan, Laura Young, thank you for that. That is something that has made its way into my DNA. My response is my responsibility. That's all. So yeah, something can't be expensive and have incredible value. Think about that before we go into the number one, the program that it's expensive, because that could be your parents' mindset around money. And I find that is very, very frequent. It's my least favorite conversation to have, especially when someone's running a medical practice and they tell me something's expensive. I was like, well, then we need to have a conversation about what you would be doing with the technology or your thing, who is facilitating it, what is the per cost session, and what does that ROI look like, both from your business model and the value delivered to the patient. And that's the only conversation to have. And then you can go shop around between all the different car dealerships and find what you want to find. But that's the only conversation to have. Can you see I'm passionate about this stuff? I hope you guys listen to this podcast. I feel really good about it. I'm gonna do 3 more. Stay out of story. Stick to the facts. Do I need to break that one down? Stay out of story. There's so many times when people will jump into a story or a narrative, and I'm listening, and I will pause and I said, "Do you actually know that? Have you been there? Have you had that experience? Have you tried it?" And they're like, "No, but I've heard." And I was like, wow. I want to pause here. I don't want to spin out any more energy. And I would rather just let's talk about the last South Park or Family Guy, or let's talk about the football game. I don't want to go into story with you on this because we're just telling each other what we think things could be. We're filling in all the blanks, and my energy's so precious. And I love you, but I want to stick to the facts. And of course, this plays into how we talked about, right? How do we talk about hard things? A couple social media posts I've talked about going into an election, right? How many times do you go into a conversation in which there's just no ability to stick to facts? It's all story. Now, let me just say this. It's a hard time to know what the facts are. Really and truly. What a challenging age in which there's just so much spin. If you've ever remembered that movie, Wag the Dog, it's fascinating, just the spin on politics. But stay out of story, stick to the facts. You can hold your practitioner. We can hold this accountable in a consult. We can hold this accountable in a romantic partner or a business relationship. Let's stick to the facts. You'll be so much happier. And I've really tried to pull that in. I try to add that in silently to the interviews that I do. Another one on here. Find value in the in-between moments. So I have this experience lately where I've noticed myself in a gentle state of agitation, where there's two times where, one, I'll be getting off a plane and I've traveled all week. I've served like 1,000 people at a show, or like I'm wrapping people in Flow Presso, or maybe I'm up there and I'm speaking and I'm prepping for a new presentation. And I'm so tired. And I get off the plane and I get my bag, and it's not until I'm at Austin Airport and I get out of the elevator and I can feel the distance between the elevator and my car. And I think, oh my God, I'm so tired. I've got so long to go. I got to go to the garage, through another garage, to the walkway. I got to get my keys out. I got to lift these heavy bags, and it feels like I'm going through the last couple miles of Death Valley. And the other one is when I'm checking out at a grocery store. When I got all my shopping done and I'm right up to my bags, everything's in the bag, and the last couple buttons are like, how many bags do you buy? Do you want us to charge you that for your card? Do you want to run up for education? And I'm like banging on the screen. I'm like, no. I'm like, let me out of here. But I give you these examples, and I want to ask you, do you have moments that they're like painful points of frustration in which I am realizing I'm wishing away time? It's like, I want to be on to the next time. How can I reframe this painful moment to bring myself back into the presence? And I'll do the walk from the elevator to the car. I'll just flip that one. I'm not going to take too much time on these. I'll do that one. And I would frame this in the way that if I were out of my 12-day stay in intensive care, and I remember this very well, and I hadn't left the hospital, I haven't seen fresh air, haven't eaten a normal meal, and hadn't walked outside. I remember that walk to the car, weeping. I never thought I would leave. And I remember the beauty of how the air fell on my face and the sunshine, and it was cold. It was spring in Rochester, New York. I'm driving down Mount Hope, and all the little simple things, I was just ready to pop. And it's the little in-between moments that we can just do a little reframe in our brain. And the only reason I say to do this is to don't wish your life away. Don't wish your wife away. Don't wish your life away. You are wishing away the preparatory phase before you go up Mount Everest. You're wishing away the 1,000 days that might lead up to your wedding. There's so many opportunities to suck the nectar of life. So again, when I said at the top, I was like, what do I take away from all this podcasting? What do I really take away? We got to slow down. We got to be still. We don't have to, but I'm finding more value in my life and more joy when I slow down. And there is a program, to go back to number one, that is so strong on my brain that there's more. That somehow tomorrow holds more. More podcast downloads, more opportunities, more money, more influence, more relationship, more friendships. It's never really been true. And I've been here 46 years. I've never seen it to be true. Some of my most profound moments of joy in this life have been the simple ones. But it's paired with a deep awareness and presence of like, you know, oh, just sitting down and in a couch in Redding, Connecticut, and there's a roaring fire, and there's people around, and maybe we're having a piece of homemade pumpkin pie, and there's a beautiful golden retriever on the floor, and the fire's cracking, and it's so beautiful. I'm not going to have a better moment than that. But the brain would tell you there is. The brain would tell you there more. Yep. I had a moment this winter when my whole family, all my nieces and nephews, had grown up enough where we could go skiing. And they're just old enough, so they're just not that annoying anymore. Everybody can keep up, and we can all ski together. We can go up and down the lift, and my dad's there, and my sister and my brother and their kids, and I'm just so proud of them. And it's just like, man, my heart feels so full, you know? And these privileges are not lost on me. Oh, it's so good.